All right. Happy Wednesday to everybody. We've got RBH Sound in the house. We've got Dream Media in the house. And we have the illustrious Shane Lee in the house. How you guys doing?
Awesome.
Great.
What's up, Gene? Thanks for having us on.
Awesome to have you, Zach. It's been a while since we've done a live stream together. I wanted to include you in this live stream because RBH has some really cool announcements to make to how they could customize their speakers. I call it customize yours, if you will, for short. Basically, if you guys are looking to configure your speakers aesthetically or even performance-wise, you're getting these options now from RBH. I want to get them to talk about this and also have Zach on here as well because he is an authorized dealer online for RBH. And Shane Lee, we're trying to get some speakers in his house. He's getting ready to move into a house. He's going to be doing some reviews and maybe even that 21-inch. I don't know about the dual 21, Shane. I think that's
yeah, you better do the dual.
You can't up me. You cannot up me. You cannot have a dual 21. I will lose sleep over that.
We can stack two on top of each other. Why not beat everybody? Go for a quad.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, just turn the whole room into a subwoofer. Anyway, I'm going to expand the RBH window here so you guys can see. We've got Brady. I don't think this is the first time we've met. And yeah, how you doing, Brady?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We got Kenny and we've got RBH's chief designer, Shane Rich.
Yep. Good to see you.
Speechless. There he is.
Looking good.
So what are we looking at here? These are first time I'm seeing some of these products, especially that really large tower. That thing looks freaking awesome. Why don't you tell us what's going on?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let Brady. I think Brady needs to tell us about this because he's the one that's been really involved putting that particular product together.
Yeah. So I've been doing audio since I was 7 years old, actually, and I've done a lot of different things. It really was mostly car audio to start, but now I'm getting older, so getting more refined, and stepping into the home world. But just some of my influences with the things that I've been able to do and create. I'm moving into this world that we're in here with home stuff, and so this tower, it really actually has a lot of inspiration from the automobile world. As far as if you look at the colors, they really come from a lot of the ways that newer vehicles are being built. And it's really kind of just a aesthetic facelift that just my visions of how I see things, and I can see it in my head like that, but this is the transition of allowing someone else to be able to see what's in my head as well. So, but we definitely require Shane to be able to take my vision and tune it and make it something that sounds right as well.
Yeah, so this is basically our 8300 with a faux leather wrap around it, and then the baffle. And you'll notice that we've got a waveguide in there for the AMT tweeter.
Nice.
And so, yeah, aesthetically, it's really stunning. And from a sonic perspective, it's upping the game as well too. That's our goal with all of this, is that it's going to be not only more revealing from an audio standpoint, but also have that additional cosmetic look that is going to be more striking. So yeah, we feel like everything we're showing here is really a step forward in terms of what we're doing with our products.
So Shane, we got a question here. How long have you been with the company? And I'm going to say, damn, you've been there since like the Middle Ages, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. It's been, basically 30-ish years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you're making me feel old now.
Well, and yes, I'm probably the oldest one speaking at the moment in our group. But, the thing I guess I want to bring up about what we've done over the years is RBH has been known to do a lot of custom work, and really what we're showcasing here is all the custom work that we can do. You know, everything from, oh gosh, well, you remember, Gene, you had some of our tower speakers. I think it was the 1266s.
Yep.
Doing the 30 custom wood finishes. And so, you know, our dealers have really enjoyed having that type of option when they're working with custom, you know, integration in a home where you've got a, what do you call the interior designer? I almost said
Decorator.
The other, yeah, interior decorator. There was another name for that, but we won't use it. So you've got all of these options we had in wood specifically. So I don't know if you can see the speaker with the wood finish there. We're back to being able to do that. The wood.
And is this all? This is all done local, right? I mean, you guys are
Yeah.
building cabinets locally. This is all done in the U.S.
It's not just local; it's right here in our facility.
Yeah,
That's incredible. For
Yeah,
an
the
American
wood shop
company
is right
to
next
actually
door.
do it.
In fact, if you haven't seen that, then look at some of Zach's video. When Zach and Kellen were out here, they were showcasing what we were doing as far as building our products right here in our facility. So,
yeah, definitely check that video out, guys. They have an amazing operation, really hands-on, R&Ding everything right there in-house in Utah. And again, I mean, like Shane said, the custom options is really what sold us on RBH. I mean, we can really tailor custom solutions to every single customer, not only from an aesthetic standpoint, from a performance as well. I mean, their architectural lineup, which I don't think we're going to be talking a whole lot about today, is absolutely unbelievable. Fully enclosed. They have, it's like tower speakers inside of your wall. They have full array, and introducing the 21-inch into the mix has given us the ability as integrators to really spec out some crazy high-end home cinema builds. So I'm very excited to see you guys kind of stepping up the design of the freestanding speakers that would be visible inside the customer's home. So I'm excited to hear more about it.
yeah.
Yeah, and someone's asking, do you offer facility tours? What's the process of scheduling that? So what is the process?
Sure.
I've never.
Kenny?
Yeah, just give us a call. If you're from out of town or whatnot, just give me a call. I'll be the one to answer the phone, and yeah, we'll set up a time. Anybody's welcome anytime.
In addition to that, they have a full-blown theater there, as well as a 2-channel space, so you can get the full tour, but also hear these speakers and hear some of their heritage speakers as well. Stuff that, you know, you can see the whole collection. Maybe Shane, you could talk about that a little bit. The history of RBH. It's all right there. You guys really have a beautiful showroom with all of your products featured. As you can see in that room there, guys, they got on walls, they got in walls, they got tower speakers, bookshelves. The options are endless.
Yeah. Do you recognize that sound bar or speaker bar back there, Zach? Do you see that? Yeah, there we go. There's a shot.
Yeah, I see it. Is that the one that I'm going to be doing here in the living room?
It is.
Very exciting.
It is. So, yeah, I look
so
forward to
everybody watching this, if you're not subscribed to the Dream Media channel, we really did take a deep dive into RBH and fell in love with the brand. And we did probably 20 videos on every single series, so you can understand their lineup, as well as the factory tour and some of the history of the company. Amazing brand. I really love what you guys are doing over there.
Zach is very high energy, man. He came over my place once and he took 3 5-hour energy shots, and we were shooting videos till 7 in the morning. Too much for me. That was too much for me. I don't think I'm inviting you over again, my friend.
Maybe that's just Zach. Maybe they weren't energy shots.
No, I did have 1 5-hour at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
That was good times, Gene.
It was a good time for sure. And, you know, that's a cool thing that you just showed a minute ago and you were talking about, Zach, is the fact that they have a high output passive on-wall sound bar And I love that kind of solution, especially if you have a large display and you can't put box speakers in the room. Most of the sound bars on the market are, they have little 3-inch drivers, or they just don't have a lot of output. This is their signature reference drivers. And if I'm correct, Shane, that's your signature reference drivers in that sound bar, right?
Yes.
6.5s, or is that a 6.5?
These are 8.
Oh, 8.
Yeah, it's the 8, and it's the AMT, the larger arm canvas AMT tweeter as well.
So that's a monster. That's got a monstrous output.
I can't wait. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
For anybody who's watching this and they're not really familiar with exactly what this product is, passive on-wall sound bars are just an amazing solution when you have these massive panels. And RBH can make these. We'll have a variety of different options to choose from that can fit standard size TVs, 55, 65, 75, 85, but they can also do custom sizes. And that's kind of what this whole podcast is about, is kind of emphasizing their flexibility and ability to work with us as integrators to really design your dream system. So like, as an example here with this sound bar, it's not your typical sound bar per se. It's actually 3 dedicated speakers in one enclosure. So you have a dedicated center, you have a left, you have a right. So we're actually building you a true surround sound system that is expandable. So you can add surrounds, you can add Atmos, you can add subs to this, and it can be a lifelong product that lives in your home, an investment piece.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it really is exciting doing these types of products. I guess we should talk about the elephant in the house too.
I laugh when I see that. It's just ridiculous.
It literally is the elephant, the Dual 21. So here's a perfect example of custom product. We'd released the single 21-inch subwoofer, and it wasn't long after. Well, actually, it's for someone we've done business with for quite some time. They contacted us when they realized we were doing that single 21-inch sub, and they said, well, I want a dual 21-inch sub. And we were like, okay, we'll do it. So really, a lot of the custom products that we do are because they've already been asked for by existing dealers and their end customers. In fact, we had someone the other day ask if we could do a quad 21-inch subwoofer.
Oh no!
Wasn't that just me just today, right now? I didn't know somebody was asking for that. I'm just suggesting that to Shane.
Yeah. So,
how tall is your roof or your wall? Let's stack them to the ceiling.
The sky's the limit, I guess, right?
Yes.
I mean, how much can you lift? That dual 21? I mean, the single 21 mass loaded is like 350 pounds. So I'm guessing that was probably.
Gene, that's Shane's problem.
Well, interestingly enough, after we had moved this into position, my back said no more, and it really started hurting. But this one hasn't been mass loaded yet with the granular acoustic damping that we put in it to help again with performance with the subwoofer, and also it helps keep the size relatively small for a dual 21-inch subwoofer. But I know, Shane, this is something we've been talking about for quite some time as well, because you have some of our existing subwoofers that you've had in your theater. And so, we're planning on for sure getting at least the single up your direction.
How would that blend together, ported and sealed? Can I seal off the ported ones that I have in my house now? Well, you could do that, or you could do like what we did at Gene's place, and that was applying some all-pass filters that allowed us to blend the sealed and ported subs. Well, Gene, maybe you should describe how well that worked. It really did.
So we did it a lot better than Direct did it. Let's put it that way.
Well, at least for now, yes.
For now, yeah.
Maybe they'll have something that can ultimately do it better than we can do it. But Gene's system, the integration with his single 21-inch sub, with our vented 1212s. He essentially has the same thing you have, Shane, just in the fancier gloss cabinet and SVTRS, but you have essentially the same components in your system with the 1212 subwoofer. And so I feel confident we'll be able to integrate it, no problem. Another thing to really think about is how large is your theater going to be? I'm just curious, Shane. Do you know what the dimensions are for your room?
Yeah, it's going to be a 25 deep by about 13, maybe 14 wide.
Okay, so yeah, well, the single will probably be plenty for you.
Yep.
I will tell you,
probably go for 2.
Yeah. Well,
be on the safe side.
Yeah, to be on the safe side. Well, you may want to buy some life insurance because I have made myself physically ill with the single 21 in our theater running some tests. So.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Shane, that thing is incredible. I mean, we were blown away whenever we visited the facility, and you had the dual 12s up front and that 121 in the back, and it was just punching us in the heart. It was amazing. I can't imagine what kind of frequency response are you getting now out of that dual 21?
Well, they're actually the same frequency response. It's like, do you really need lower bass than, the 3 dB down point on the single 21 in our room is 4 hertz. So do you really need it to go down to 3, 2, or 1? Probably not. So,
you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to feel like some G-force, Shane. I want to be like.
Well, that is the thing that the dual 21 does do, is that it has more output capability. So you're gaining at least an additional 6 dB of output, which is technically what, Gene, about 4 times the level at those frequencies. Infrasonic frequencies.
Yeah. Yep.
So roughly 4 times the level of the single 21. So,
but just to give you guys some perspective, since I've added the 21 to my system, my marriage is a bit unstable right now.
I think we do need to start shipping it with a disclaimer. We are not responsible for what happens either to your home in terms of its structural integrity or your marriage or anything else.
There needs to be disclaimers because
your neighbors signing a petition. Yes,
my neighbors have been good about it, but I did my best to soundproof my room when I built the house. I have mass loaded vinyl staggered stud construction. I've got double doors with an 8-inch gap, and everything was great until Shane decided to dump a 21-inch sub into my system, and now the entire house feels the bass. It goes through my walls like it's paper. Yeah. So just keep that in mind if you're putting a sub like this. And just to give you perspective, this is sexy me with a 21. Just to show you the size of this sub. And I'm 6 foot, and
he's 5'4", guys.
No, that's Shane Lee. So imagine the dual 21. That thing is a beast.
Yeah.
Do we need to pose on this for you? Or?
I think so.
Yeah. Somebody get up there.
That's not me. Come on, Kenny.
I want to see you guys lift it. That's what I want to see.
He doesn't want to scratch the thing.
What was that you were saying, Gene?
I want to see you guys lift it. That would be an interesting thing.
No, well, I'm done lifting. We're all done lifting.
Who's first to have a hernia on camera?
Yeah, what is it? 300, 350 right now as it stands, and then we'll be adding another at least 120 pounds of the granular acoustic damping material. So yeah, that's going to be getting close to the 500 mark when it's all said and done.
When all said and done, I think it is 505.
And keep in mind, guys, when you see this monster sub, we can conceal these behind like a baffle wall or put it into the room design to where you're getting these infrasonics, but your wife doesn't necessarily have to look at it.
Yeah.
Well, you could take your wife's car out of the garage, cut a hole in the wall, backload it. She could park outside and then just put a or something, and then you don't see it in the room, and everything's fine. That's going to be easier than walking it into the theater anyway.
Yeah, but that is a good point that you make, Zach. We made this subwoofer specifically the depth that it is. It's just a hair over 15 inches deep, so that it could be used in installations that it's got to fit within a baffle wall space or what have you. So we can't really go any shallower than that. But and again, this is a custom product. So we've already, as you know, Gene, done some subwoofers with this driver that were huge vented systems.
Oh, yeah.
20 cubic feet, just incredible output capability. And for a dealer that was installing them in a client's home. And so, in fact, we've got the other one. I don't know if we can see the other one there, but it's a larger version of the Dual 12. Can you see? I guess we don't have a camera on that one where you can see it.
You can see kind of behind it. I have that one actually in my room.
Well, this is even bigger than the one you have in your room. It's about twice as deep.
Oh, wow.
Maybe, Kenny, do you want to just turn it so that you can see
cool.
the depth on it?
Shane Lee's looking at that like I need that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I like the drivers.
That one's a 6-inch port, Dual 12. And so again, we designed that specifically for a client. The integrator, told us they needed this type of subwoofer output capability. It is a very large theater, has a balcony in it. So you can only imagine, really large. And we just had to put in, we put in 4 of those and then 2 of the 21-inch subs in the really large vented enclosures. And we got word that there was so much bass that there was a pipe that broke, they thought, above the theater because of the amount of bass they were getting in the theater. And so anyway, as we say, with great power comes.
Yeah, so that may sound really scary to a lot of you guys, but we can do things like sound isolation and dampening and really reinforce a lot of things around the cinema, especially if it's a new construction home, to help counteract some of these effects.
Well, yeah, this was, I think, a very unique circumstance. Had to do with concrete that was above the theater itself, and so again, just an outrageous amount of bass. But we all think you can never have too much bass, but maybe you can.
Well, Shane, I think this is the best quote for you on that.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Well, Shane, obviously you need to do at least 4, I think is what right? And Zach, I appreciate you bringing it up to all the viewers that your house is not going to fall apart completely, but completely be conscious of that, I think.
Yeah, you do have to know what's going to happen as far as really low frequency infrasonic bass potentially having a little more reach than what you're used to. So but again, it can be dealt with, as Zach said. So I think it's also important to bring out the fact that this is not a subwoofer that's just about output, because yes, we can do really, really high output versions of it, but it really has the finesse that you just don't commonly experience in really large subwoofers. It has a relatively low Q or very tight, accurate bass. Sometimes as a designer, a lot of times we feel like the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And that can be the case in some designs. This is approaching what you would see in a commercial type application, but it still has the frequency extension of what you would expect for a home theater sub. And again, it has the ability to just give you bass that's extremely detailed and accurate. So,
well, that's one of the advantages of being in a large sealed enclosure. I mean, pound for pound, if you have a driver that has a big X Max like this one, I think it's like 38 millimeter X Max on this driver, has a real surround on it. It's not an accordion surround, so it gives you a good throw. Low distortion, low inductance, and it's in a large sealed damped enclosure. The group delay is really low. And when you integrate a sub like this, like you did into my system, which has all ported subs, it actually tightened the bass. It didn't loosen it. And I even did spectrogram with and without the sub, and it did no harm to the measurements in my system. It just integrated seamlessly, and it gave me below 20 hertz what my other subs weren't giving in that room.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the way that we really need to look at these 21s, whether it's a single or a dual, is that we're completing the bandwidth. Prior to this, we thought that the bandwidth stopped at 20 hertz or even higher than that. But this is completing the bandwidth and making it even a more dynamic experience than what we were previously used to before this.
Yeah. There's a question, a good one here about Atmos. Are the RBH on-wall products available or capable of being ceiling mounted for Atmos duty? Wimpy round coax need not apply. And I agree, because you guys have all these incredible high output speakers for on-wall, box speakers, but we need an equivalent for Atmos. And what are the mounting options for some of your high output speakers if you didn't want to just use a 6-inch or an 8-inch coax?
Yeah. Well, so as you know, Gene, we talked about some product for your theater system specifically, new 8-inch single 8 with a coaxial mounted AMT, the same signature AMT that's used in these speakers that we're showing here. So if you need something that's larger than that, there are other options, and we've been building or experimenting with higher output theater speakers for Atmos. And in my opinion, you really don't need anything more than a relatively efficient 8-inch with something like an AMT in it, unless you're going to much higher ceilings, 12 foot, 14 foot, and beyond, then yes, you may need something that has even more output capability. But if you're in the, 8, 10 foot range, then my personal opinion is, because you're using multiples of those speakers, I'd recommend using more speakers than going to a larger speaker, because you end up restricting your off-axis response a lot of times as you go to a larger speaker with a larger mid woofer, and so you don't have the same dispersion characteristics with those larger drivers. You can get higher SPLs, but it just depends on what your coverage is, what you're trying to cover, the space you're trying to cover.
Yeah. Someone here says they live 30 minutes from RBH headquarters. Wonder if they have a demo room. Yes, they do. We actually just spoke about that. So definitely give them a call and check it out. Especially you want to hear a demo of that 21, the dual 21. It's worth the 30 minutes. It's worth the 3 hour drive.
Yeah, go over there and experience the infrasonics, guys. It's like throwing a supercharger in your car. It takes it to a whole different level. Instead of your subwoofer just kind of flapping like a fart in the wind at 20 hertz, it just keeps on going.
Yeah. So with the custom speakers that we're talking about, I know I was asking Brady about this on IG, that Waveform is coming out for the Toronto of owners out there. They might want to retrofit their home by on-wall subs, maybe not in-wall subs if that's too tough, but can you build on-wall subs for that kind of application that's probably going to be pretty popular coming up soon?
Absolutely. In fact, I was just communicating with Matt Pose earlier today on that subject, because he has a couple of our subwoofers in his theater room in the back of the theater, and he was talking about reconfiguring them so that he could use them for the trim-off base array type technology, which he's doing some beta testing and on. But yes, we do have. We'll probably have to grab it. So let me grab one of them here, if I can stay attached to my microphone.
No, I should have done
Shane's
it.
already thinking about the future of how he's going to do waveforming in his theater.
Getting ready, man. I'm getting ready.
Yeah, I mean that's a challenge.
Microphone with me, yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
there we go. That's what I'm talking about.
So yeah, so this is one of the new models that we're doing. That is, you can see it's 5 inches deep, so relatively low profile on-wall subwoofer. And we're actually doing this. This is going to be going up Teo's direction, Gene. I don't know if you knew that or not, but he was on the phone with me not too long ago, and we were talking about, potentially getting something up his direction for his theater. So yeah, this is, dual 12-inch active drivers, and what that trim-off base array technology is calling for is an array of these types of subs across the front of the room and the back of the room. And there's no question that this will be a real winner for doing those kind of subwoofer systems.
Sweet. Yeah, you could put 4 of those in front, 2 in back, and you probably could do the waveform pretty well with that.
Oh yeah. Just an FYI, Teo doesn't have a trim-off, but I do.
Yeah, and even if you don't have a trim-off, we have smaller versions.
He's always looking for the angle.
It was an unflattering angle of something. I'm not sure what. But anyway, so even with the Dirac, that we were experimenting with, Gene, where they're using bass from full range speakers to give you the control you want in the room acoustically. We have a smaller version of this in the works that you'll be able to put like right below your 821. So it's an MTM type configuration. We talked about that potentially even in your theater. And so you can essentially, with what we have here, turn any speaker that you're going to have in your bed layer into a full range loudspeaker system. So you could, it's going to give you
basically
what you want.
would put it, you would see there's the 821 on the sidewall. You'd basically put it right under it, almost like a column, right?
Yeah. Correct. Yep. Exactly. And in fact, it's the same width. This 821's, well, that's different than the one that Gene has. But so the width is going to be similar to what you have in your. Oh yeah, Mike, he's grabbing it here for me. So awesome, thank you. Yep. So we'll have essentially what is going to be a single 12 or a single 12 and a passive radiator type subwoofer that will be this width and the same depth, and it can go directly below the speaker to be used in conjunction with your processor to give you the full range that you need to be able to do the the control with the Dirac or some of the other bass things. I no doubt are coming out. They're going to use similar type of.
Will the main speaker wire directly to that subwoofer, or is it going to get its own channel from the processor, or how does that work?
Yeah,
how would that work?
So, it could be done either way. Quite frankly, it could be run separate channels. I mean, I know when we were going through this with Matt at Storm Audio, there was a lot of discussion about what is the best way to do these type of systems. And, from what we went over, Gene, it appeared that, you know, the more full range speaker systems you have in your system, the better ultimate control you can have of the bass in your room.
Yeah. Yep. So we would do this passive between the 821 and that sub. You would just have to figure out if you need a crossover to level match. Some, you know, to pad it down. Or...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Here's a good question.
So it could be configured either way. It can be passive, add-on, or an active.
Speaking of active, someone wants to know, can you guys do fully active all channels? Shane?
Yes. Yep.
Yep, whatever you want.
Yes, we can. And well, as you know, this subwoofer system I was talking about, or the subwoofer, the large 21-inch vented subwoofer we were talking about, that went into a full active theater system, RBH products. Now, a lot of times when people think of an active speaker system, they think of, you know, the amplifier built in, and we do have that capability with a lot of our products. You can have the amplifier built in as a powered active speaker system or a passive speaker system, like you would typically have with your amplifier external. But we think of an active speaker system as you know, something that's using either the AV processor to do the active crossovers, either something like the Trinov or the Storm altitude processor. So those products have that capability, and there are the other products out there that can do that as well. Or you can do external DSP active crossover control, which we have the ability to integrate that into our systems right now. You have some of that in your system right now, Gene.
Yeah, I got it right behind me too on these towers. These are fully active with the Marani DSP.
Yep. So we can do that, and it really does take system design to another level when you can do that. You just have more control. You have over the bandwidth of the drivers, so you can limit things appropriately, have steeper order filters, better integration between the drivers, better dynamic range, better time domain response, frequency response, you name it. It just takes it to.
And you could tune the speed. You could truly tune the speaker to your liking. So without doing anything with magic cables, where people try to tune a system with magic cables, you could actually tune the system to how you like it with DSP. Far more effective, far more useful. And once you go active, fully active like that, it's hard to go back to a passive speaker.
Yeah.
It's awesome. We made a full video. Kellen, our national sales director, and Shane Rich made some videos that are on our channel, specifically talking about all of the advantages of using active speakers. So you can go to the Dream Media channel and type in RBH active speakers and take a deep dive into some of those videos. We also have a project in the works that has a Storm ISP Evo processor along with your active speakers. So the way it works, guys, is we'll have the speakers installed in the room and all of our amplifiers living in the rack, communicating right with the Storm ISP Evo.
Yeah, that's a clean solution.
Well, you want to mention our 16-channel amp?
Yeah, definitely. Todd's just reminding me that part of what we do as custom is our amplifiers, specifically for those kind of systems, for sure. But let's grab that. Or, well, we got to dance around.
Yeah, we're really getting you a workout today.
Probably a good thing. So, yeah, we have our amplifiers, which can you tell them about our amplifiers?
Well,
So we can do anywhere from 1 to 16 channels in 1 2U chassis. They're all really high efficiency Class D amplification that, so it runs cool and doesn't, draw a lot from the wall. And you can configure channels from 140 watts all the way up to 2,000 watts, depending on your situation. Obviously, you can't do 16 by 2,000. That's impossible, but you can do 2,000 by 5, So we don't have like SKUs for them because there's so many options, so many customization abilities with these amplifiers that really just, call Zach at Dream Media or call us and we can talk to you about, what we can do for you.
Yeah. So for instance, Gene, you have, you got 2 of our amplifiers similar to this, correct? One upstairs and one downstairs. And both of those have essentially a couple of 1,000-watt amplifier modules for the subwoofer section, and then a more reasonable 500 or 600 watt module for the other components, other than the other mid woofer based something like a tower with mid-range and tweeter. So you might have 400 or 500 watts for the top section, the mid-range, and then 150 watts for the tweeter, something in that. In that range.
And I've bench tested some of these amps for you, and eventually I'm going to write the report. Eventually, I'll get to that. But the one thing about those amps that I really like, the Pascal Class D modules, is they're time tested. These things are in the field. They've been in the field for a while. We've tortured the hell out of these amplifiers. We've tortured them with subwoofers. We tortured them with the SVTRS system, this system back here. They're just hard to break. They really put out the power that they claim they put out. They're efficient. They run cool. They don't get hot. They get a little bit warm if you're really hitting them hard. But I've actually run out of wall current one time when we were setting up the SVTRS and I had it plugged into a dedicated 20 amp line. We tripped a breaker in the Dolby Atmos Amaze scene. Remember that, Shane? When we
I do remember that. I do remember that.
We had a lot going on that day. We didn't have everything fully calibrated, and it sucked the 20 amps out. So if you have any intentions to hit their high power amplifiers, get some dedicated lines in your room. At least 20 amps. You could do 220 on those too, right? You could do 220 volts on those amps.
Yeah. In fact, again, that big theater system we were talking about, everything was being run at 220 volts. Yep.
Yeah, that's smart.
For that reason. So again, there are other companies that also do, similar amplifier in terms of they use a module or similar module. One of these Class D modules, there are several key companies out there that are producing them. But I don't know of anybody that offers the kind of customization that we offer, as far as essentially giving you the capability of mixing and matching different power options for each channel. So it's really unique. This is obviously a 4-channel amp, but you have an 8-channel in your theater downstairs, and upstairs you have a 6-channel.
Yeah.
So, and again, you've got the subwoofer amplifier integrated into the main amplifier essentially, and then you have, whether you're using it for an active speaker system, yours are active, but you don't have to be powering just active speaker systems to use this. You could certainly have, multiple channels. Again, we can do 10 channels in a chassis essentially with our standard 400 watt amplifier power module. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot we've expanded that. It was up to 10. Now it's up to 16. So, that really makes things easy, especially for integrators that have limited rack space and are trying to put as much power as possible into that limited space.
Yeah. Well, Shane, I got a question for you, and I'm putting you on the spot with this one. Does RBH do measurements for all their speakers?
That is
Absolutely.
funny. Yeah, well, as Gene very well knows, I mean, I spent most of today pulling measurements on this speaker right here, as these guys can attest. So we're getting ready to potentially ship out for a demonstration. And so, yes, I mean, everything we do is very extensively tested, to the point that I'll probably need hearing aids within the next, no, I shouldn't say that. I did actually have my hearing tested not very long ago. It's still really, really good. But, you know, again, you got to be careful. And everything that we do is thoroughly tested. And if in fact, if you ask, and we have had customers ask this before, I can get you frequency response measurements, you know, distortion, all kinds of measurements, everything essentially that you can do in these measurement suites for loudspeaker measurements. We can get you those kind of measurements for your speakers if you're really interested. We'll be posting more of those for our typical products on our website as well.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I think people want to see this on your website. I think it would really help you guys to publish some of this stuff.
Yeah, we have some of it up there right now with our new website that hasn't been up too long. We've started to put some of those key specs, frequency response, you know, the CEA 2010 measurements, those kind of things for subwoofers, and more of that will be coming.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's one of the great things about your products is a lot of your products are designed to be very high dynamic, and to actually show, you know, your max SPL, I would flaunt it, because you guys have the ability at your price points compared to a lot of your competitors. Your speakers play louder than a lot of your competitors and cleanly. So why not put that into a numerical graph for people to digest?
Yeah. I certainly agree. There's merit to that. You know, I don't like the situation that sometimes can arise where, you know, you've seen it, Gene, where it becomes a battle of the specs, where the people don't even hear the speakers, but they'll just, you know, they base everything off of just, you know, if that subwoofer plays 1 hertz lower than the other, their subwoofer 1 dB louder, but you know,
nobody does that.
Yeah, it is true. A lot of people do that now. Shane, you are a perfect example of, and you measure product within, you know, your theater room, which I applaud you for. You know, like Gene does, because it really does make a difference to be able to have third-party verification of what we're doing too, because companies can pretty much put out any specification they want. You know, it's not that hard to do, but when you have it third-party validated, that's important. And that's why you guys, you know, especially the type of thing you're doing is so critical, I think, for us as manufacturers, and for Zach, for people that sell our products as dealers, because people do need to know. So we appreciate that.
Yep.
You forgot to mention, do those amps have DSP? Because I know that amp that I have for the subwoofer does have DSP.
Yeah, we do have. So this particular amplifier chassis doesn't currently house any DSP processing. DSP units, digital signal processor units. But we have thought about it, quite frankly. We're not to that point yet with this particular Alpha Series amplifier. We do have dedicated subwoofer amplifiers that do have DSP built in. And so the ones that are powering the 21s, those do have dedicated amps. We have 3 different, right? 2.
Right now, 2.
2. Right now, 2 different subwoofer amplifier, external, I should say, rack mountable amplifiers for subwoofers that have DSP. But then we have DSP capability in our plate amplifiers that go into some of our subwoofer products as well. So a lot of times it isn't as needed, quite frankly, for a subwoofer amplifier to have DSP, because like in Gene's case, the DSP is being handled externally, either by one of an external DSP processor or, you know, within the AV processor itself. So, you know, bass management, those kind of things, especially with higher tier products like the Storm and the Trinov products, those are going to have, you know, really, really powerful bass management features in them that will allow you to use the DSP processing in your AV processor to do what you might think you would need to be built into the subwoofer amplifier, but a lot of times that isn't the case.
I'll tell you what, when I calibrated your subs and I showed Gene the measurements, they were like ruler flat. That was like with no smoothing. It was like this, the most linear measurement I ever got out of any subs. I was like,
yeah, that was great. You had great integration.
I was like, I must be screwing something up here because this is just too good. It was like so strange.
Well, and you know, it, of course, starting off with the subwoofer that's designed to be relatively, well, very linear to begin with is a bonus, but all of us usually run into issues in rooms, the room acoustics, and then having, yes, it's true, in our amplifier products that are designed for our subwoofers, we have over 30 bands of parametric EQ that if you want to get in and just dial it into the nth degree, you can do that with our subwoofer amplifiers.
And you know, back to the whole bespoke thing, or the customizable aspect of what we're talking about here. Me and Gina are always talking about some of your speakers are a little, I don't want to be like they're boring looking, but they're kind of like regular boxes. But the new ones that you got behind you definitely have some more flair to them. Are those new models, or what are they, and why they look a lot cooler?
No, actually, like in this case, these panels in this case are actually magnetic. Now that isn't always the case where we have that. We have magnetic grills, but we have the option of having magnetic panels as well. That way, you know, if you're trying to give a visual aesthetic that's going to match your room or whatever, and you end up moving like you are, Shane, to another home, you could potentially replace it with a different color if you have the desire to do that. The side panels, some of the side panels are attached, you know, right to the cabinet. So they're a little more purpose built in terms of what they do to the acoustics of the cabinet. Right. That isn't so much what's needed on the front baffle. We already have thick baffles, and so it's a little more of an aesthetic, you know, feature that we're adding to the product for some of these speakers. But again, you know, we have this type of wrap that Brady just did on this speaker. I don't know if you can see this one over here, but same kind of thing. Now there is some acoustic benefit that you get from the waveguide, but it does admittedly also dress up the speaker cosmetically. So yeah, it just gives a little more character to it. This is one of our newer models. Yeah. It's the modular series, so this is really unique. You know, it's much like what you have, Gene, in your room, but just a smaller version. So you've got the subwoofer built into the bottom, and then you have a choice of two different, you know, mid, you know, satellite speakers, we'll call them, that can go on the top. But yeah, well, appreciate you pointing that out, Shane. Yeah. We're going to great lengths to be able to offer those kind of custom options for people.
Yeah, I
So
like
the
that small
round-
one that you just pointed out. That's one of the cooler ones I've seen you guys put out. That that white one there.
Yeah.
So we're rounding the hour mark. We said we were going to do this in 30 minutes, so we're about 30 minutes over.
That's about right.
Per usual.
Yeah. So I guess what I want to know, if I'm a consumer and I want to order these products, like that custom 8300, obviously it's not on your website yet as far as I know. Does somebody just say I want an 8300 with the cosmetic upgrade, or do you order the cosmetic upgrade separately and you install it yourself? Because that 8300 looks like it's not something that an end user can go and dress up the speaker. That looks like it's purposely integrated.
Yeah,
into
you want
the
to
design.
field that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we definitely have the communication, talk to people, whether it's Stream Media or us, just to kind of really fine tune what you want. And we'll say, yes, we can, or no, we can't.
And how much of a premium does that, like that 8300 with that nice wrap around it, how much of a premium does that add to the product?
That's a great question. We haven't figured it out yet.
It was just finished today for our live stream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but some of the other products, like Kenny, do you have something you can give them an idea on some of?
So what I can say, like on our powered monitors, we do have a price figured out for the acrylic polymer side panels. That should be an option on Dream Media's website. But for example, we figured out what we want to do for paint. Like if you're doing a gloss cabinet, it's 34 cents a square inch. So it's just, we want to offer these options to people, but we necessarily just want to break even. We want to offer it because the core component, which is the speaker, is, the pride and joy of the company. But we want to offer that versatility so people can, enjoy looking at it too.
Yeah.
So you said that one speaker has like a vegan leather on it. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I wanted real leather, could you source that? Put that on there.
We can do real leather as well.
Well, Sonos Fiber has real leather. Why wouldn't they have real leather?
Shane, for this specific size, it wraps all the way around from the bottom all the way around to the top. So if you can find me a really big cow, then yes, I can make it like that in leather. However, I may have to find somewhere to seam it or
seam it up. Yeah.
Yeah, you might just, if you bring me a couple little slightly chubby cows, I'm gonna have to put a stitch in it.
All right, let's say
Shane's gonna want exotic animals next.
Let's say you really wanted to get more custom. Could you source, or could your customer possibly source you like a Louis Vuitton fabric for a side panel? Could you do that?
I don't know why not. If they really wanted something very specific and they brought it, sure. Yeah.
All right. So you would do what the customer wanted. Also, with those side panels, do you have like a machine? Like if I sent you a vector graphic or somebody sent you a graphic, I wanted like the Bills logo on there or the Chiefs logo.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. With the side panels, we can get vector graphics. If you're doing it out of the Hannix, we want to approve of the design so we know it's going to have an acoustic benefit, because otherwise that's a lot of money just for a cosmetic. If it's just purely cosmetic, we do it out of wood, just to keep the cost low for the customer. I think this is the last thing we want to hit on today. It's, we've got a connection for an epoxy artist. So any shapes, colors, patterns, this guy can do it. It's pretty awesome. I've seen one where it looks like marble and it's beautiful. So that just offers another thing you can do. Only for the side panels though, because I guess there's complications with doing it on a 3D object like a box, because there's going to be a lot of drips and we don't want that.
Yeah, that's cool. You can do custom stuff like that because nobody else offers that. So it's pretty cool.
It's amazing.
And not only that, this is all done again, because I always see the comments in YouTube. Those speakers are made in China. That's the biggest comment that you hear when you're dealing with high-end audio is they don't like it when it's made in China. This stuff is all made in Layton, Utah. It's made right where you guys are sitting, right next door to it. It's all assembled in the United States. It's all engineered in the United States. So if you guys want to buy American, RBH is your best example of buying American.
Remember, stuff made stateside costs more money too.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
Yep. There is a premium.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, though, the takeaway here is you can get extremely high performance, high output systems that are customized to your exact needs, guys. And this small group of guys will help work with us to help tailor that package to maximize your aesthetic as well as the performance of the system.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, guys, I appreciate you all coming together today to show us these new RBH products. I don't know. I really like those 8300, Shane. You might have to bring those down next time you're here.
Yeah, you might see them, sometime soon. So we'll see what we can do.
Awesome. Well, Zach, thanks for coming on. I put some links down below if you guys want to look at RBH products. I have links to the website. I also have links to Dream Media, who is an authorized dealer of RBH Sound and an integrator. Shane Lee, of course, is on the channel because he's going to be getting some products in as well. He's going to be doing some more video work for Audioholics when he gets his theater room up. I'm excited about that. Guys, if you like this video, please hit the thumb up, hit the subscribe. Don't forget about our Patreon channel at patreon.com/Audioholics. We appreciate your support. Don't forget about Shane Lee's Patreon. He's going to need every bit of money he can so he can bling out his new house, and we want to support that as well. He's clicking.
More 21s.
Yeah, he wants a dual 21.
There will be a 21-inch review coming on the channel soon, so guys, stay tuned for that one.
The first ever quad 21.
We got that.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. And until next time, my friends.